Hey, welcome back, everybody. We love to do fashion and fashion trends on this show, but did you know there are also trends that take over the wine world? Joining us from Ottawa is the one and only Natalie MacLean, and she is, of course, leading the most popular online wine classes. And today, Nat, you're going to take us through trends in the wine world.
You bet, Mel. Nice to see you too, Lainey. And yeah, we experience trends just like does. You know, these wines, think of them like the choker necklace or wide lapels. They're back, baby.
Okay, well, let's start with this trend. It's orange wines.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think I've I think I've tried an orange wine, but can you just give us a little 101 on how they get to be orange?
Sure. So let's clear this up first. No oranges were harmed or used in the making of orange wine. It actually just
Oh,
refers, yeah, exactly. It actually just refers to the color of the wine. And that's why orange wines are also referred to as amber wines or skin fermented white wines. And although orange wines are really trendy right now, it's actually an ancient style of winemaking that goes back thousands of years to Georgia, the country, not the state, and Armenia before they had stainless steel tanks. And they were made in these large clay vessels or amphorae.
okay. So how do you make them?
So you start off by making a white wine, but then you let the skins stay in contact with the juice as the wine is fermenting. That's something you usually do only for a red wine, not whites. And what happens is that these skins create or have these magical aromatic precursors that eventually get released into the wine as aromas, flavors, and color. Of course, they don't leave the skins on as long as you would for a red wine because they're trying to achieve a much deeper color. Now, the other thing about orange wines is that you may have noticed they have a lot of floaty bits in the bottle. By the way, you do not have to treat your bottle like a snow globe. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. But these floaty bits are actually the spent yeast cells. They're good stuff. They're bursting with flavor. Think of them like the braised bits of meat on your cooking pan that you try to scrape off to get all the good flavor out of it. That's what's happening in these orange wines.
So you've brought us an Ontario orange wine. It's from Southbrook Vineyards. Why do you like this
Mhm.
wine?
Well, I just love this orange wine because a couple of reasons. Winemaker Anne Sperling has led the charge in establishing a category for orange wines that is actually protected by law, and it's the first in the world. And I also love it because it tastes good. So it has these wonderfully weird aromas of Earl Grey tea and clementine zest, and yet it's nutty and savory and juicy all at the same time. And as Anne says, this is the perfect wine for lazy sommeliers because it pairs with such a wide range of dishes, from lighter dishes like seafood and shellfish, all the way to heartier meat dishes like braised meats.
Okay, have you tried it, Lanes?
Yep.
What do you think?
I,
She's not
I'll
saying
tell
anything.
I'll tell you what she thinks. I'll tell you what she thinks. She may not be a fan because it's different. There's definitely lots of
Right.
extra things happening and a lot of this. It's in the tongue and the
Yeah,
roof of my mouth. I don't know if that's right
lips.
or wrong, but that's where I'm tasting it.
Yes,
Definitely a good punch in the
absolutely.
face with this one. You've got another orange wine to show us.
Yes, yet another punch in the face. Great tasting note, by the way. So this
Yes.
other orange wine is from Greece. It's Anatolikos Vineyards, and it's actually made in clay amphorae. So it has those wonderfully weird aromas as well, like clementine zest or tea and toasted almond, toasted nut. So yeah, it's an acquired taste, Lainey, but I'm sure if you work at it, you could come around.
All right, so we've covered orange wines, and now the next trend you're going to tell us about is natural wines.
So natural wines, people get really what I call enthusiastic about natural wines. They're sort of mixed up about what they are, but they're really excited to try them. And so natural wines don't have any additives. They're not filtered. They're not fined, but also they're made from organic, hand harvested grapes that are fermented with wild yeast. So they get all of these sort of funky aromas as well, but quite different from orange. Also, natural wines can be made in red, white, sparkling, or of course, orange wines. I guess it's natural, so to speak, that there's already a backlash against natural wines because some people think that it's a winemaking philosophy or approach. It's not something that should be codified into law or pinned down because, I mean, really, how do you define natural? That's a whole other discussion. But it's pretty easy to define the word orange.
All right, Natalie, you have given us a natural wine to taste as well, which I'm going to grab right here. Tell us about it before we dive in.
Sure. So this is Gruner Veltliner from Nigel Winery in Austria. And Gruner Veltliner is the iconic white wine grape of Austria. And so in this, you're going to get lime zest and maybe even a little white pepper. It's a very zesty, mouth-watering wine. You'll feel the acidity playing up and down here. And it'd be great with seafood, shellfish. Just wondering if what you think of this one.
I like this one better, for sure. I'm
Oh, good. Better. All right. We're
much more
climbing up out of the darkness here.
much more inclined, yes, to this one.
But I've got one more natural wine for you here, and it is from Germany, and it is a Pinot Blanc from Whitman Winery, and it too has this sort of real racy, edgy, nervy acidity that would go with so many dishes, from field greens to spinach quiche to brunch any time of the day.
Okay, so we're going to round this out with the third and final trend. And you say this is wine that is
Mhm.
aged in a whiskey barrel as opposed to,
Mhm.
I guess, the regular barrel. So tell us how it's different. What makes this a trend and hot and different?
Sure. So with regular barrels, say from France or Spain or Hungary, you're going to get a very smoky kind of flavor. But with barrels that were used to age either Canadian whiskey or bourbon from Kentucky, you're going to get that sort of caramelized, toffeed finish. And so it's very trendy right now. It's sort of dovetailing with the trend in the renaissance of craft bourbon and whiskey. Um, and I think you might find this quite different from what we've already tried so far, I hope.
Okay, so before we give it a taste, and I know people out there are thinking this, does it actually taste like whiskey? And is that why you asked us to put it in these rock glasses?
Right. So it doesn't taste like whiskey and bourbon, and it certainly doesn't have the high alcohol of those spirits, but it does have that finish of the bourbon. You'll get it sort of coming through to you as you drink it, and that again is why
Ooh,
they're referring to. Oh, you like that? Okay, great.
yeah.
So yeah, it's quite different. But to your other question, Lainey, the reason why we put it in a rocks glass, it's part marketing and part practicality. So the rocks glass kind of signals again that it's going to have that sort of bourbon finish at the end of it. It's meant to be enjoyed without any sort of sniffing and sipping or fancy glass where it's ready to be enjoyed when you are, right? So that's kind of why they do it, and to kind of market it differently to a different consumer.
And this one's from California, so tell us about it.
So this Stave and Steel is actually an international collaboration, a cross-border collaboration, if you will, because it is from California, but it was aged in Canadian whiskey barrels. It's the kind of
Mm.
collaboration we love to see, and it's got lots of dark, fleshy, brooding black fruit and smoke, and but that
Mm.
again, it finishes with that maple toffee finish, which is just so lovely. Wraps it up kind of in a neat package.
This might be my new fave.
Now, you actually have another whiskey barrel aged option for us.
I do. From Robert Mondavi, also from California. They've aged their Merlot in bourbon barrels, so from Kentucky. And again, you're going to get that signature finish at the end, that toffeed edge, which is just gorgeous. And you can pair it with grilled meats or any really hearty meat dish.
This has been really, really cool. Natalie, thank you so much for taking us through these wine trends. And for everybody watching who's like, I want to know more, we're going to put all this information up on our website after the show. We'll be right back after this.